One tiny spark. You understand the point? We're affected by these little things that just go over our head because we don't understand the big picture, God's point of view, because we're always fed the world's point of view and told that's the only logical, pragmatic, practical way to think. You show common sense if you comply, conform, and capitulate to what we say is, a unanimous consensus, for example, on vaccines or something, which is baloney. I mean, you got a prima facie propaganda. Who could deny it? But we want to feed them this and feed them that. We want to believe the way we believe. We're delusional. We want you to buy our delusion. Don't ask any questions, and we're not going to air any dissenting experts, which of course do exist. We all know that's true. All these people in the healthcare field that don't want a vaccine. How do you explain that? Not all of them have needle phobias like me. About 10% of the population does, though, according to Google, which is imperfect at best, right? Yeah, natural disasters, I forgot, are another example of organic forms of suffering that are across the board. That's how you could distinguish and identify organic suffering from inorganic. Inorganic always picks on individuals and groups of people. Okay, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to me. Okay. But like I said, friends, I've come to the conclusion the only solution is to have no form of money at all. We've got to wean ourselves off it. We could do that with sound economic policy. And the evildoers know that damn well. These are evil geniuses. You understand? They think they're smarter than you. Are they? Prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Investigate the stuff I say for yourself. Okay? You can be smarter than them because they're forsaking their souls. They're not valuing their conscience. Do you understand what that means, the implications thereof? And that's what they're trying to tell you, is that you shouldn't value yours. They want you down there with them. These are the bullies. These are the master main money lovers. These are the control freaks, the grand puppeteers, the kingpins, the grand poobahs at the uppermost echelons of power in this world. So that's who is controlling the policies we're all forced to live under, and we should fight like hell with God by our side, leading our way, and saying, with the power vested for me and from on high, because I don't care if they kill me. I really don't. They can kill the body, but they can't kill my spirit. They can't kill my soul. They can't kill my essence. God owns that, and he's going to take me back. I'm going from here. The invisible is very real. Look at the air you breathe, gravity, electricity, radio waves, all sorts of microwaves out there, right? That are very, very real, yet invisible. Very, very powerful. So that's you. You are created an eternal being. And if you turn to God and say, I want that. I want an eternity, but I don't want it in this crap hole. I get that. Live and let die, I say, in this crap hole. But it's where we go from here. I want to work toward a better world. That's why we must seek to change. Do all we can to change the invented, inorganic, artificial suffering. Okay? And turn to God for relief from the rest. And just leaning on his promise that eventually all those forms of organic suffering will be gone. That's the best advice I can give anybody, my friends. Okay, is no human can save your life. So when you at the end of the day, when you're asking for counsel and advice, there's this little spirit out there called the Spirit of Truth, or the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, the Counselor, the Encourager, anything good, any good adjective you want to call it. It's our direct connection to God. So God's not distant from us. We're linked through that Spirit forever. You understand? God's not an a-hole, though you could think that when you see all the terrors in this world. But God is not an a-hole. It's not his fault that anything negative, nothing bad is his fault. The original sin comes down to free will choice. Our ancestors made the wrong one, and it's stuck in our DNA, and it's taking these thousands of years to play itself out. Eventually, death will be swallowed up in victory, because we've got to go to a place where there is no death. It's just too horrible, and that place can't have any money. You understand? Those two things have to, definitely those two things be gone. But Jesus promised that the renewal of all things, everything bad is gone. So that means thorns on roses, stinging insects, the sun won't be too bright, the predator prey thing is going to be gone, everything negative gone. No more natural disasters, gravity won't be lethal anymore. You name a bad thing, it's gone. Yeah, I think these weather reporters ought to, when somebody's ready to blow their brains out because they see this week and they can't take another 100-degree day, they ought to give people some encouragement and tell them, yeah, well, at least the days, we're already 6 weeks into shorter days now. So, but they don't. I'm going to recent current events. That was one of the notations I'd made here, and other talking points I wanted to get into. Last week I was talking about this Dominican hospital in Santa Cruz where my third child, my son, was born in 1988. He died 2 weeks later, and I believe they gave him the hepatitis B vaccine day one. My wife and I didn't have the hepatitis B. I don't know why they gave it to him. Just protocol, I guess. But I think sometimes they wait till the immune system builds up on the richer patients. But when they're trying to save a few bucks, they'll just do it day one. He died 2 weeks later, but I wasn't told about the possible connection. Rand Paul knew all about that. Senator Rand Paul is a doctor. He said he'd never allow his child to be vaccinated on day one. But, I was remembering because the point of that story I was telling, because my dad cut his finger and almost his thumb off in 1972-73 when he was building Fiddler's Green, the 44-foot Williams design trimaran in the town of Felton in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And my cousin, Bill Murray, was visiting from Norwich, Connecticut at the time. And he drove my dad to the hospital. And they wouldn't take my dad because he couldn't prove financial solubility. So he had to wait there. He waited like 45 minutes. They could have saved his finger and thumb if they'd operated him right away. But because he couldn't prove financial solubility, I think he probably got pissed off. My cousin took him to the community hospital at that time, and they were able to save the thumb, but he lost his index finger. But I think he might have threatened a lawsuit against them, for what they did, because he owned his own business. He was quite financially soluble, homeowner. And they had my name on record from that point on. So they had my wife's record. So when they look at the record, oh my God, I just wonder that kind of stuff. I mean, it might seem kind of weird. This is a Catholic-run hospital too. My dad dropped out of the Catholic Church. Remember I was talking about that earlier. I'm just trying to put it all together. I'm thinking I don't want to be paranoid or nothing, but this is freaking weird. Then this perfectly healthy baby boy, my son Brian, he's dead 2 weeks later. No reason, man. We don't. Detectives were, well, did he get a hepatitis B vaccine, sir? Well, they're ignorant, too, the detectives don't know anything about this. They ever heard of the Vaccine Damage Fund run by the government? The vaccine companies only agreed to make vaccines if the government protected their butts from lawsuits. Look into it, man. I mean, get educated, friends. Please, carry your fair share of weight of this cross that we all got to bear. Those that vote for a certain politician, they've got to stand by their decision. And if the politician doesn't do what they expected them to do, then they've got to become their biggest critic. That's exactly how I am. I became Trump's biggest critic over the stuff he wasn't doing right. Okay? And that's how you got to be. You voted for Biden, then you got to be his biggest critic. Because you're the one that's got to feel betrayed, right? Unless you're just being a little, I'm going to shrink away. I don't like that decision. Like nobody can work in the White House unless they never smoke pot. If they ever even admitted they smoke pot. So all we've got now, he's surrounded by 100% liars. Because every one of them, we all know, smoke pot. Friends, ask yourself, in 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now, how much are you going to care about all your crap and all your money? Think ahead. It's a good thing everybody involved in that has an interest in the food industry in any way, factories, farms, supermarkets, if they doesn't have the compassion that if they acted like the people in the housing industry, all the people involved in that had interest, lenders and all the people, tons of people have an interest in housing price. They want higher. Inflating housing prices, devaluing your housing dollar. But if they did that in the food industry, be sunk. Maybe it would have acted as check and balance. If you saw a dozen eggs go to $10, maybe then that we could say, well, what do you do? It's because my housing prices went up. I needed more money. I'm in the food industry. I need a commensurate inflation here to offset the higher housing costs. We're not going to talk about these things, are we? I'm the only guy in the whole world that seems like points this crap out. How come we're not privy to the stuff, the ingredients in the vaccine? Is it proprietary because it all stemmed from organic means that you concentrated? Well, maybe we could find our own source of those things that you put in the vaccine. You're not going to let us do that, are you? You know, you're going to be opposed simply if you're an egalitarian type. You know that? That if you're just for fairness and justice and equality, all good